Gus, the next child is Alto. And he stayed at home like all the others and helped out
Yeah,
until,
he was 20 years old.
then where did he head for?
Well, he went to Atlanta. He took a little short business course there and quit it and decided to get married, and he never did make anything of that. I don't know.
Of getting married or the business course?
The business course.
And
He just dropped it. He didn't. And then he farmed.
where did he farm?
On Carter K. Well, he lived 1 year on the. Dad had a big section of mountain land over there, cold land. That was really good soil. And I told any of the boys that wanted to clear that up, he'd give them what they made on it as long as they wanted to stay up. Gus took advantage of it. He cleared the ground and planted it in orange potatoes and corn. And he built him a little house over on Dad's place. He lived there 2 years. He planted, I don't know how many potatoes he planted, but anyhow, he made a crop of corn and potatoes on the same ground. He planted his potatoes in March. Well, he plowed them twice, 3 times. The last time he brought a furrow in the middle and planted corn. He got a full crop of corn off of that and potatoes too. And that year he sold his potatoes, sold 75 bushel of them. They eat the rest of them, right? And he had plenty of corn to feed his mule and his bread and chickens and anything, the hogs, fattened hogs. And he had money. He got money out of his potatoes. After the second year, he bought that place up on the ridge then from Charlie. Charlie owned it then. Charlie bought it from Uncle Ben or Uncle Joe. They both owned it at one time. I don't know which one he bought it from, Uncle Joe or Uncle Ben. Then he sold it to Gus.
Now this was up on, how would you describe the location up on the ridge?
Well, it's up on the mountain above where we were today, on that road, on the same road that we run up on the mountain about, I guess it's miles up there to that place. And it was just a little log cabin. I think it's 40 or 60 acres of land. It had a good orchard on it. They got had a lot of apples.
Now about how many years then did he farm up to that?
Well, he lived there. He contracted the place then to Florida, I think, and moved to down on Price Creek. Stayed there about 2 or 3 months. Come back and canceled that contract and went back into the old place. Then he stayed there several years.
Till he was about how old did he stay?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, how many years in all?
Well, I guess he stayed, they stayed 5 years after he went back, after he moved up and then went back. And then he went back to Pickens County and bought the place where he lived. I believe he sold that place and went to Cobb County.
All right, and then he never returned to Gilmer when he left from there at the call.
He went to Cobb County and stayed a year, and then he moved back to Pickens County on Fisher's Creek. He bought a place there. And then he sold that place and about, I guess about somewhere in the 50s.
Now, let me take you back before you start for there. When he was in Gilmer County or Pickens County, He raised corn. Now, did he convert some of it to whiskey?
No, sir. I done told you that, and don't you ask me that question
All right.
anymore.
Well-
No, he never would prove it. He just never.
Uncle Alto?
Gus.
Oh, no.
No, this is Alto you're
Oh,
on
and
now.
Alto, no, Alto never made whiskey. He never made it. He hauled it.
He hauled it. He
Yeah,
didn't
had
do
it
like-
made.
Had it made.
Yeah.
Now this is, you've been telling me about Alto now, right?
Well, I was thinking about I had Gus on my mind all the time.
But who had the farm up on the ridge that he contracted to Floyd?
Well, that was Gus.
That was Gus.
Uh-huh.
Let's
But
go back.
After Alto married, Gus left the little house he built over on Dad's place.
Who is this now?
Gus built the house over on Dad's place where he cleared up that
Yeah.
land.
All right.
Well, he just turned it over to Alto.
After Gus left,
Yeah, Alto went. Gus told him he could have it.
he got married.
He had to have a place to live.
Mhm.
He moved into that house and he farmed there about 2 years.
That was right on the edge of your dad's place.
It was on my dad's place. It was
Okay.
part of my dad's place. He had 160 acres there in it, so had plenty of land for 2 or 3 families. Well, he bought, Alto lived there, and we had bought a place. But his daddy and me had bought a place down on Carter Cay. Well, he bought a place before we was married. He bought 40 acres of ground back on the other side of where his dad lived, next to the Carter Cay River.
This is Alto now?
No, that was
Oliver, okay.
that bought that place. And then he, I don't know, he sold it or did something and bought the place over on the road, on another place on the river, higher up on the river. Right close to the main elevator road, the road we've been out today going to.
Towards
Carter Cay.
Dawsonville? Okay.
Yeah. Then he sold that to.
Who is this now? Oliver? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then he sold that place to Alto,
Okay.
down on the Carter Cay
So
River.
Alto
And we
then.
moved back up there above Philip Miller's, or Lola Miller's.
Right. So Alto's now moved to the place that Oliver has sold him.
Yeah,
How many
Carter
years did he
Cay.
stay there?
And then we moved up to the foot of Burke
Was
Mountain.
he doing any bootlegging at that time? Or did he start it later when he moved?
Oh, he did it all his life, I reckon, after he
How did he
married.
haul it? What do you know? Did he have any good tricks for
Wagon.
hiding it? Or
won the wagon and mule.
how would he hide it?
Well, he'd fill up his jug, set them in this wagon bed.
Mhm.
Then he'd pour apples on around there and sack up some beans or put some cabbage in, or potatoes.
Like he was peddling it or
Oh,
hauling it?
he'd go on down the road. Now him and Harv West started one time.
Harv was your brother-in-law.
Yeah. Harv had a buggy, and his wife and baby was going down to Grandpa. His daddy lived down in Gordon County,
Mhm.
Ranger,
Mhm.
and he was going down there. When he had that buggy, just every rock he could get in it. Well, they had a suitcase back in there, strapped on somehow or another, and this horse feed. And he told Alto they was going together. But he told Alto that morning, he said, "Now, if you get ready," he said, "I can travel faster than you." He said, if I'm not there when you get ready to go," he said, "you just go on, I'll overtake you." Well, Alto had a wagon. One little skinny mule in the wagon, and he had the beans, cabbage, potatoes, apples. And
But all the bottom of it was jugs.
yeah, with whiskey. Well, he had his little box. They had to camp out at night, and there wasn't many restaurants along,
Mhm.
and they always cooked enough and had a little box set in front of the wagon that they could have their what they eat on going down there and just come back. They make out the best way they could. It wouldn't keep too long.
Mhm.
Well, he had him 2 pints. One in this corner of the box and one over there. He was going
That
on-
was for his own use.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was trick. That was his trick.
Okay.
Well, he went on, and everybody knew they had their, what they call the revenue officers. Just a bunch of men that,
Where did they live or stay?
well, they were stationed at Jasper,
Mhm.
but they lived just anywhere they thought they could find a still or somebody fooling with whiskey. Well, he was going on down a long hill, or got to the top of a long hill, and he saw these
They blockaded the
officers
road.
went, no, they went in a great big old hack, and sometimes it'd be 4 or 5 in there.
Mhm.
2 great big horses, everybody knew them.
They
Well,
were
he
fast.
saw them coming for the hill. He was up on top. He got out, took out his knife, got out his harness, and he was just working just like nobody's business, fixing his harness. Just as they drove up about close enough to speak, he pulled a string out of his pocket and cut a piece off of it and started to,
Repair his arm.
yeah, he's bringing on that harness. They come up, of course, they knew him. They spoke to him. Where he headed? I believe he's going to, I don't know whether he's going to Cartersville or somewhere down that direction. Yeah, what he loaded it? Oh, he said, I've got a Duke's mixture. He said, I've got some, I've got apples, potatoes, cabbage, beans,
Mhm.
and I believe he had, I don't know what else. But anyway, he told him what he had in it. Anyway, got any whiskey? He said, well, you think I am? Start out and have to sleep out these nights in the fall of the year. It's pretty cool, you know.
Mhm.
I was lie out on the ground at night. He said, I always pick a little longer
Mhm.
to keep from catching cold. And he just reached over the bucket. He said, picked it up. He said, you want a drink? Well, yes, they wanted a drink. Well, they took, every one of them took a drink out of that pint bottle, passed it around. He said, have some more on it? No, they said, we don't drink it up from you. Said, you need that to
Mhm.
back home. But he said, I'm not that crazy. He said, this will last me down there. And he said, over here on this side, I've got one to come back home.
Mhm. Got a pint on each side.
Yeah.
Well, they
He
always,
showed it to him.
well, they always little crocks, pint crocks, or what would they be?
Bottles.
Bottles.
Pint bottles. Just
What about his load? Would it usually be in bottles or two? Or
Jugs.
Jugs for the whiskey.
Sometimes they've got fruit jars.
Mhm.
All depending on how many he needed. And
Mhm.
well, they took another drink and he set it back and they started on. And he said he saw him look back, but he was still, when they started, as soon as they picked up the line and started on, he started working with his harness. He had his eyes cut on him, and
Mhm.
he saw him look back, and he said he was still working at the harness.
Till they were way out of sight, huh?
They went on over the hill. Business. Got about as far as from here to, well, I don't know, it was about a half a mile all over the road, and then that Harv. Harv saw him coming. And like Alto, he knew him. But what did he do? He just pulled up on that line, and he gave that horse a cut with a whip, and he took off, and they hollered at him, said something to him, and he answered him, and he said, folks, I'm in a hurry, I'll get to, and that was as good as he wanted.
Grabbed hard.
They just stopped him, searched that bucket, and they found this whiskey.
What happened to Harv?
Oh, maybe he got him a revocation court, a whiskey case.
Did they send
They
him up?
fined him, but no, they didn't that time. They finally did.
When do you think that was, if you had a guess? What
Which?
the time you're telling about? Would it be before you left Gilmer County, when you were young, or when you were married?
Yeah, it was before I left Gilmer County. It was after I was married, but it was before I left Gilmer.
Like 1910, 1912?
Yeah. I guess about 1912, yeah.
Did Alto have other good run-ins with him like that, or was
Well, he always got by that way. And Harv was right the other way. Harv told Alto, he said, I'm just so confounded, feel so confounded guilty when I see them devils are coming. He said, I just show it in my face, and he didn't know that what I was doing. And the kittens. Alto was just unconcerned about it, and like that.
Yeah, what's the story about the kittens? Was that an Alto story too?
What?
That kittens on top of a barrel?
Oh, that was in Marietta. Yeah.
Well,
Well,
let's wait till we get along to there.
Oh, well.
Where
don't
did he
interrupt.
usually deliver to?
Don't start something and then stop.
All right, go ahead.
When did he do what?
Where did he usually deliver those jugs to? To Cartersville? Where was he going?
Well, he'd take them to Cartersville if he was going to Cartersville. If he was going down the state.
But he had to have somebody to sell it. He had some arrangement.
Everybody knew everybody in Gilmer County, I reckon, and they knew who handled it. And always, when they go on one trip, they
Make arrangements.
make
for it.
arrangements for more. They want more at a certain time, and
Did he
always
usually
do-
deliver it, you think,
He could
to
get
a
rid of
saloon?
it.
There wasn't open saloons, was
Oh,
there?
I know, there's no open saloons. It wasn't nothing like that then. They'd, I guess maybe it was Atlanta, I don't know, I'm not sure about it. But they knew about when he'd be on his regular trips. Well, they'd make some
Well,
arrangements.
he could make a lot more money.
Maybe take a bucket out, and
Mhm.
if they'd ordered a quart or a half a gallon, they'd take a bucket out and get some apples, and he'd put that down in there and put a few apples on top of it.
Oh, he had to actually, he couldn't deliver like 100 jugs to one
Oh,
guy.
Lord.
He had to market it after he
He
got it.
could if they had it arranged so that he could leave it somewhere,
Mhm.
and if it was out at the edge of town, somebody wanted it to.
That taught a man to use his wits, didn't it?
Yeah.
To get by like that. All right, how many years did he operate delivering before he went down into Cobb?
Oh, let me see. Do you remember? Did you take the date of that Cleo Mulkey? You found that on the market?
Yeah, I remember Cleo Mulkey, I tell
Well,
you.
that was his daughter, and he left there the next year after she was burned to death. That's she
All
died.
right, okay. That's when he left the county.
Yeah, he left
He
Gilmer.
went for
Left
Cobb
Gilmer County and went to Cobb County.
permanently?
He went to Cobb, right, and up near Kennesaw.
Mhm.
He lived there for 2 or 3 years, and then he moved further on down.
What did he do? Farm at around Kennesaw? Or did he become
He
a
farmed
merchant?
there in Cobb County
Mhm.
near Kennesaw. And then he went from there on down near Smyrna
Mhm.
and farmed for a while. Then he went into business there at Marietta. He built that place.
What did he build? The place that Charlie later took over?
Yeah.
And he held it for several
A
years?
dwelling and a store.
And he operated it for some time before he sold
Yeah,
it?
he did before he sold it to Charlie and Horace.
Then when he sold it to Charlie and Horace, what did Alto do?
Well, he just went trading.
Different
buying,
business?
Buying lots and buildings, having buildings put up. And he'd buy a lot for pretty cheap, have a building put up on it, and get a good price out of it.
Now, after he got down into Marietta and Cobb County,
But
he
he
still
still-
had connections so he could bootleg and
Oh,
make some
he
money.
did it.
He did it all during the time he was there?
Yeah, while he had that store there on Cherokee Street.
How did that, was
He
that where the
went-
story of the kittens happened?
He came up in to Gilmer County to his wife's mother that visited them. Well, he never did care for enough there, but he'd always carry enough back to pay him 2 or 3 times double for the trip. Well, he carried back, he and Ed Ball, his son-in-law, were together. Ed got some, and Alfred did too. I don't know how much Alfred had, but anyway, they was full of chalker just across the street on the next corner. See, the Alfred building was here, and Chalker's right there over
This
the
is
back.
in Marietta.
He had a store, and he didn't like, Alfred was getting more trade than he was, and he had a grudge against him somehow or other, and he watched him. So they came in one Sunday afternoon, or Sunday evening late, and he went and reported. He must have seen him take something in the house he thought was whiskey. Well, he had a 2-gallon jug.
Alto?
No, it was a 5-gallon jug. He took it in, took it upstairs. His bathroom was upstairs. Took it up there, and there was a big keg of some kind that would hold the 2-gallon of the jug that he put in there, and put a little some kind of pillow on it. Had an old cat with some kittens. He put them on there. Put the
On
kittens in
lid?
there. The kittens couldn't get out, but the little cat, I guess she finally moved them. But anyhow, the next morning, on Monday, they come in with a search warrant. That house been reported that he had whiskey. Alfred says, "Here's the house." He said, "This is my store here," and he said, "It's open. Not a key turned on anything, and there's no locks, no places in here locked. He says, go right ahead. And he said, my living quarters is upstairs. And he told what he had down the living room downstairs, and the bedroom, the kitchen was upstairs. He said, you just go right on and search any place you want to. He said, the house is all over. He said, if you find anything locked, just call me and I'll unlock it. And they said, no, we're not going to prowl over your house. Just us. He said, come on, go with us. Oh, he said, I'm busy. I ain't got time. Well, he said, get somebody to call your wife in here and let her look after your business. And come on, we're not going up there prowling around without you. Well, he said, all right. He called Mary and she went in there. They went upstairs, showed them the bedroom, went on in the kitchen, the dining room, safe, and the frigidaire, whatever he had, dish cabinet, everything. Well, he had this whiskey in the bathroom. Well, they said, that's it, I reckon. Said, we haven't found none. Said, we made a thorough search. He said, well, you didn't. You haven't checked the bathroom. Well, they opened the door, and that barrel was sitting there. One man reached over and put his hand on it. He said, don't disturb them. Mama, cat, and kittens. They said, all the hell with you, Mama, cat, and kittens. He had his hand on the whiskey, almost. So he just walked off and left.
Did he get pleasure out of tricking them, you think? I mean, did he tell about it afterwards himself?
Well, sometimes he'd tell about it.
He enjoyed
Well, yes, and he just
Setting up
enjoyed
people.
outsmarting them.
outsmarting them as well as the money. Huh?
Yeah.
He made a good living, I take it, with all that.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Did he end up with owning some pretty good property, or?
Well, I don't know. I guess it's been hard for him to tell me exactly how much.
He
He
traded
owned how
so much,
much,
you know, is that?
He had plenty.
I think Buddy used to show me, was that his son or Ed Ball that had a business when we first did?
No, that was Ed Market,
Ed Malter.
his son at Woodstock.
Oh yeah, he showed me some driving.
Dixie Ann.
You were
We
there.
stopped
Yeah,
that one
yeah,
time.
we used to.
Ed Ball's the one you called down in Florida, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Buddy talked to him. Well, how about backing up a minute and describing physically Rome and Gus, these brothers? I think you described Molly. What did Charles look like, your oldest brother?
Well, he was kind of heavy set, sandy haired fella.
Blue-eyed?
Yeah, blue eyes.
Was he sort of square-faced, or was
Yeah.
some of them lean?
Square-faced.
Taller than average?
No,
Medium?
he and Alto were about, he was a little taller than Alto. They always called each other Shorty.
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't very little difference in their height.
Mm-hmm.
And Rome was a little black-headed, black-eyed. They used to call him a mink because his eyes were so keen and
When they were
black.
growing up, they called him a mink?
Yeah. He had big black eyes.
Mm-hmm.
His hair was as black as a crow. They all were all pretty strong and healthy. They never was sick much.
Alto was same size as Charlie. Was he same in appearance, sandy-haired,
Yes, his hair was,
and blue-eyed?
yeah. his
Which,
was,
do any of them look very much like Kim?
I don't think they did. Not exactly. They resembled some of his people.
Mm-hmm.
Horace always reminded me of Uncle Will, one of Dad's brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And Ford was kind of like Uncle Ben. He was little and
Who was that one?
Floyd.
Floyd.
Yeah.
Uncle Ben. In size?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was the least of the family.
Okay, after Alto, who was next?
Floyd.
Okay, and you've described him to me. Now, when did he leave home? About how old?
Well, he ran away from home when he was 17 years old.
Where did he go?
He was gone. Huh?
I told him none of his business.
He was gone 8 months, and in that 8 months, he worked a job in 11 states.
What kinds of things did he do?
Well, he'd just stop off and get out of money, and he'd stop
Mhm.
somewhere and ask for a few days'
Mhm.
work. They'd give it to him, and he'd get enough money, he'd go on somewhere else.
Went all over the country?
Yeah, he went to Texas with my brother in Texas. Stayed out there, made a crop out there. Part of a crop, got it partly finished. And he got sick, had typhoid, and he got chilling, and he,
Came home.
my brother sent him home. He couldn't.
Who was out there at that time?
Rome.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he came in home, and Dad spent, I don't know how much. He spent on him for medicine and doctor bills. He was tricky. He was a
Tricky how?
he wouldn't take his medicine.
He'd slip.
He'd chill, and Dad got him some medicine. He didn't like to treat that.
Typhoid is what got him down. Huh?
Yeah, and the chills. He had chills and fever out there for a while.
Did it leave him sickly, or did he recover his
He never
strength?
was strong after that. Never was as healthy as he was before. Well, he'd go. Mother would fix his medicine for him. Get a glass with the medicine in it, and he'd take the glass, go and get him a dipper of water, step out on the porch, and dash that medicine out and dab the dipper up to his mouth, and he'd make the awful space he ever saw. And the medicine didn't do anything good. So Dad got in his mind that he was playing a trick. He'd fix his medicine, he'd take it, and I'd just swallow that. Let me get out of here. He said, you stand right there and swallow it. Well, I want to get out in the fresh air. He didn't get by with it. Dad thought he took every dose of that medicine, good or bad.
When did he finally go to work then? Did he finally leave home later?
Well, he never did sit home.
When he
And it
recovered?
amounted to anything. After he got well, everywhere he was able to go, he was all gone again. Just
Where to?
anywhere that he took a notion.
Did he ever settle down?
No more than a year at a time.
What places, did he marry?
Yeah, he married.
What places did he live then? Did you remember?
Now that's something I can't answer. Because
You
I
lost
do
track
not-
of him?
Oh, I don't know. He's in Tennessee and he's in Florida and he's in Texas and
When were you last
North
in touch
Carolina
with
and-
Floyd?
Oh, I don't remember. There was about a third of the time that nobody knew where he was. He just
He, his
moved
wife
off
and his
gone.
children, all of them would move about?
Yeah,
His
he,
daughter was Charlie's first wife.
Flora
yeah.
was Floyd's daughter. So at that time, when Charlie was around Kennesaw, Floyd had come back into Georgia? Is that
No,
what?
he's in South Georgia.
Oh, he would visit up there is how Charlie would meet Flora, or what?
And she come up there to visit.
Oh, she would
stayed
come
up there
up.
one summer.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, he used to visit, come back up there.
When's the last time you saw Floyd?
Well, I saw him about 6 months before he died. He was in
Which was-
Florida.
When?
He came on a visit back to Georgia on a visit.
Would that be 10 years ago? 20 years ago? How long ago was he
Huh?
died? When did he die? I don't have any.
I was a big boy.
After you were up here, or
No.
when you were in Kennesaw?
He died before Barbara was born. Charlie
Okay,
grew up.
all right. He died before Barbara. was born.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was.
So he only lived. He knew that that Flora had gotten married to Charlie, but he didn't live past that.
Then what?
He knew that they'd gotten married, but he didn't see the child born.
Oh no, no, he died before Barbara was born. But they was there with him when he was
Oh, they
sick.
were in Sarasota, wherever
Yeah.
they were. You don't know what kind of work he did. Did he farm most of the time?
Yeah,
Or did
on
did he have to
celery
do?
He's on a farm, just like
Celery
Charlie
farm like
did.
Charlie was?
Yeah,
That was a hard life, wasn't it? For those years. Huh?
yeah. He didn't care for hard work. He could do more work in a day. I've heard my brothers used to talk about it. He'd turn off more work in a day than anybody they knew of, but he just wouldn't stay with it long. And there's never no job for him to find work to do.
Do you remember him as a child well? You were close to him?
Yeah, we were little hoodlums together. He and I did more meanness than any two kids ever lived, I reckon.
He led you or you led him?
We just went together.
What kind of meanness?
Part of the time he'd
He's
lead
run
me.
took her across the duck pond and shoveled.
He's leading me when we built a duck pond.
How was that?
We're building a little spring branch down there below the house. We're down at the foot of the hill, the other side of the house. When we'd get out on the branch, Mother had ducks. And he'd say, let's go down. He'd get the shovel. He'd always had to slip it out of the tool shed for Dad kept us to. He'd ease it out, and Dad'd be in the field at work. And let's go down the branch and build a duck pond. If we don't build a pond for them ducks playing, they just roll them down the branch and the mud turtles together. Well, we went on down there, and it was a pretty narrow place below the spring ways, and I carried rocks and brush and raked up leaves and things down there, put the dead leaves down there, and on them, put rocks on, weighted them down, put dirt on top of that, mud. We had a dam. It was deep. I know, I wasn't more than 7 years old. Well, he was in there, it's in March, and he was in there with his britches rolled up and tied together.
In the water?
Wading around, shoveling out the bottom of the pond. And he got it done. And of course, he had his britches, after he had them rolled up, was wet. He's wet to his waist. And had pulled his shoes off. We wasn't supposed to till the 1st of May. And he's wading around. He got it done. And waving, pulling the shovel over the top of the water. This got easy that going on. Boy, that
What kind of shovel? A wooden shovel?
Big old, no ditching shovel,
Okay.
old farm shovel. Like
He was floating it on the water.
yeah, but he's holding it by the hand, you know, and he'd put it on top of the water and it wouldn't go under. I wish I could ride across on that. I reckon you can pull me across. And I said, I ain't gonna get in the water. And I had on my shoes. And he put up on the bank. He said, now, you sit down there and let me pull you across. I said, no, you can't pull me across. Yeah, I can. Yeah, you just sit down there. Just look how easy it is. He said, now sit down there. He laid up, set the shovel up on the bank. Well, fool like I sit down in it. And he told me that. Now he said, put your feet, put one foot up over the handle that way, and then the other right on top of that, and down in this right over, hold of the handle under your knees. I did that. He said, all right now, I'm going to take you across. As soon as that shovel went to the, left the bank, well, no, I went, oh, it turned over so I could come out the shovel on top. He said, now you played the devil. He said, Mom, kill us. So he said, I tell you what, let's do. The sun was shining warm. I got a little after the middle of the day. And it was warm and was out in a place where the wind wasn't blowing.
When you screaming, you drowning or something too? Or that
No, I never screamed. We wouldn't do that. Charlie would when he was little. I didn't say a word, only I said, you told me to. And he said, I tell you what, let's do. Let's go up there on the hill where it's warm, where the sun is shining, and gather up some wood. And I heard Mom say, she had to wash tomorrow, so we'll get her some washwood. Well, we is up there. Well, she never would let us stay out of hearing where she couldn't hear us too long, but she'd come out and call. Well, she come out and called. He answered her. Where are you? What are you children doing? We were getting washwood, he said. Well, now don't you be playing in the water. She knew we was pretty close to the branch. But he said, we're up on the hill. Both of us wringing wet. Well, we stayed around there and gathered washwood till our clothes got dry and went on the house, and she never did know it.
Did you ever open the dam up so water got out?
Well, the first rain washed it out. And then it wouldn't hurt anything. The ducks played in water a lot. Oh, we didn't mean to open it up. We just built a dam for the ducks.
Okay.
I just had to ride across. He'd get me into doing things. We had to look after the sheep. Dad had a
How many head of sheep you see?
usually in the spring, he'd turn out maybe 45, 50 or more for the old sheep and the lambs. Turn them out in the mountains to live through the summer. They'd make it through the summer. Just ever. He'd put a bell on one, and that was the leader. All the other
On the
sheep
open
followed.
range, huh?
On open range, every sheep followed that bell.
How'd you keep from mixing sheep with other people's?
Well, every sheep knew their bell. They just
But you
didn't
didn't
do.
cut their ears like
They
the
did
pigs.
well. Yes, they mark them.
They marked them?
Sometimes they'd stray off, and sometimes they'd.
Yeah.
Anybody would claim them here.
Yeah.
Well, so if you didn't mark one, somebody would catch it and mark it for you, and they're marked.
But each bell was different?
Yeah, the bells were different. Well, a lot of times they'd be 3 or 4 different bunches of sheep belonging to different people, and Dad always kept out salt for them. And other sheep would come there, and they'd lick salt wherever their sheep, and then they had a log. Now that's what their lick log. It's named.
What?
They picked a big old poplar log, this great big old lip was that in. They took a
In diameter? Was that big?
Huh?
That big in diameter?
Yeah, that's right across.
Mhm.
They hewed off the top of it, then they took a foot adze and dug out a trough in that log.
4-foot log, okay.
Well, it was more than 4 foot, I guess.
Mhm.
It was that big old thing.
Yeah.
Well, they hewed out
Yeah.
like a bread tray,
Right.
a mixing bowl, in that log. Well, some of the farmers around that had sheep. Ever so often, if one didn't go, another would. When they think about it, they'd go and fill that with salt.
Yeah.
Everybody's sheep went there.
So there was common salt.
And
there on
lick
that.
salt.
Mhm.
They had to have salt.
Didn't the cattle want salt too?
Oh, well, yes, but the cattle mostly would go home for salt, or they'd go out and find them out. They didn't have sense.
When were the sheep put out? What time of year?
Huh?
When were the sheep put out to range?
In the spring, as soon as grass began to come up on that.
Mhm.
Well, usually by the middle of March, they'd turn the sheep out, and then they'd come back, and if they wasn't enough grass, they'd feed them. They always had plenty of feed for them. Like hay and fodder, chuck, something like that.
You kept them in the barn over the winter?
And give them corn, yeah. And in the fall, when cold weather started after frost, kill the grass and weeds and stuff out in the mountains, they'd bring them in, they'd get the corn gathered, everything gathered up out of the field, and they'd turn them in the field. Well, they'd live practically all winter on the stuff in the field.
Fodder and what you threw to them.
Fodder that's left on the corn stalks.
When did he shear them?
He sheared them in I believe the last of August and in March. Sheared them twice a year.
How long did you work? Did you ever help your dad?
I've held a many of a sheep till he cut the wool off of it. Him and my mother both worked on them,
Who did the cut?
both of them. I'd hold one sheep before I'd hold the other. That was our job at sheep shearing time. But in the winter, when they're in the field, long in February and March, then they began. That was the lambing season.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd go to the field. Had to go a half mile to a big creek bottom up above a dam. He had a dam built there. We'd go there, and if we could call the sheep, if the wind was blowing the right way, but if it was going from us toward the sheep, like we had to go near to them before they hear us call. We'd always take a little old pan or a white something or another, they think it's something to eat, and call them to get them down to the lower end of the bottom to keep them having to go up there. It's a half mile across the bottom.
This was to get them in for shearing? Or what?
They know it's to get them in for protection for when it's cold weather.
Yeah.
When in case if they had lambs out in the open,
Oh yeah, you had to get the little lambs
they'd
in.
freeze. And a lot of times we'd go and find one was a lamb. Well, we had to pick that up, carry it to the house in the old Shepherd Forest. That was our job. We had to put the sheep out and feed it.
You did that every night?
Every night.
During the cold weather?
Hot or cold. It was over
Well, that was from October till March or something.
Yeah, usually when cool weather started on
The
about.
smallest children had that job. I
Yeah.
mean, once they were.
Well, we wasn't the smallest of the smaller ones than us, but we was the ones that took care of the sheep.
You and
Floyd.
Floyd.
Well, we went one evening out after the sheep. It was cold. I mean, it was cold. The creek, Turkey Creek,
Yeah.
it was beginning to freeze over around the edge, you know. And on the dam up here, rock dam, and the ice tags would be as big as your arm hanging down there 3 and 4 feet
Yeah.
long.
Mm-hmm.
He said turn off a second. He's got to
Telling about the sheep shearing, I think. You and Floyd?
I was telling about me and Floyd going and bring the sheep in at night.
Yeah, right.
That creek was freezing over around the edges. Well, the road, they come with the wagon, come down this way and across the ford, and they had to go down to a dark swamp to the little footbridge went across, or a log across the creek. And I was afraid. It was getting dusky dark. I was afraid to go down there, or it's dark down that swamp. And drove the sheep in while they was drinking. I said, come on then, let's go down and get across while they time they get out on the other side. He said, I'm not going for long, I'm going to ride the sheep across. I said, no, you come on, go with me. Go down to the foot log. And, no, I ain't going to do it. I said, ride one of them sheep across. And I said, all right, I can't ride the sheep. Oh, you can. And he said, see that big one out there? He said, just sit down. He had one trained to ride. He'd get in the lot. When he's in the lot, he'd ride them all around. There's one that he'd get on it and just ride it like a mule. And he had that one collared. He said, get that, see that big old nose? I said, look, that's a great big wool on yours. And she looked at broad. She said, now just sit down on it while she was drinking. Well, I was crazy enough, I did. And he said, now get you a handful of wool on each side there. And you can ride across all right. Well, she got through drinking and raised her head up. I said, she won't come across. He said, kick her in the side, spur. And I said, I ain't got no spurs. But he said, just kick her in the side. And I kicked and she wouldn't move. And he said, kick her harder. He said, she can't feel that through the wool. And I kicked her pretty hard and she began to kind of scooch down. I knew she was going to lie down with me. And she just scooched down like this, you know. And I said, she's going to lie down in the water. And he said, oh, she's not. I said, kick her and make her come up. I gave her the next kick. She was getting ready to make a leap. That sheep. And I come out with each handful of wool. It's along about the time they begin to shed. I was sitting flat in that icy water.
Where was that sheep jumped across?
Sheep went on the other side.
Jumped into the water?
As usual, Floyd said, now you played the devil.
I ain't played the dog.
That was his expression. Everything that I
Everything you
do.
did now.
And I said, you told me to. I'll kill you.
That was your standard answer. Now you know.
Yeah. Well, we went on to the barn. By the time I got to the house, my clothes were frozen. Went on, fed the sheep, put them in the pens.
It was a cold day.
Oh, yeah. And went in the house, and of course we always had a big fire in the fireplace. And Mother was sitting there in the corner knitting, and I was getting dry. I was standing around, you know, and I had on a wool dress. It was a home woven dress. And it began to get warm, it began to steam and all. And I was sitting there, and it was getting pretty hot. And wool, when you get it warm, you can't discover it. It's wet or dry when you just catch a hold of it that way. And she happened to notice, and the smoke was just fogging up, and she grabbed me and jacked me back. She said, get out of that fire. I said, your dress is just about ready to blaze. And I sort of felt in my dress to see if it was dry, but she didn't discover it being wet. She never did know it was dry.
That was another story of you and Floyd, huh?
Yeah.
let me ask you about the revenues. What, did they ever hire a local person? Was any of them ever a local man?
No, not. Oh yeah. Well, sometimes.
Who
Sometimes
would
one
work
would
for
turn
Informer? Or would he actually
He'd
be a
turn
revenue?
reporter, and he'd go to the get him good.
Yeah, he'd get a
but-
reward then for that, huh?
Oh, yeah, he'd get paid. They paid for every steal that they captured.
They paid something.
If you went and told them,
All right, but that,
certain places.
who did they think
Yeah.
were informers? Do you remember?
Huh?
Who did you suspect of being informers? Do you remember the names? Anyone?
Well, it's uncertain about that. Just once in a while there'd be somebody that never thought about informant. But there was one man up there, George Carnes. He was,
Lived in your section?
yeah, he married one of my cousins,
Which one?
and he never would work. He married Georgia Murphy.
Mhm.
And he wouldn't work. He just loafed around over the woods and reported all of his life. He'd see a steal.
He would report.
Yeah. And finally he got in with the revenues. He traveled around with them some, and he.
Well, now-
him?
Huh?
When they shoot him?
Did they ever shoot him? Or hurt him for doing that?
They run him out of Gilmer County.
Who did? The people?
The moonshiners up there.
How would they?
Well, he had a
People
steal. He had a steal, and men hired to make whiskey for him.
Even though he was reporting other people, he
Yeah.
ran. Mama, and I want to just see what you were saying. That George Carnes, was that his name?
Yeah.
He was suspected for a long time, was he?
Always. Ever since I can remember. After I was grown and married, when he was having it made all the time. When the revenues had come through, and he reported to others free, and they left him alone. So one time they come in, they cut 5 steals right around, and his was the only one that was left. It wasn't bothered. Well, those moonshiners got their heads together. They're all good buddies, and they got talking about it. They'd all been suspicious, but they knew where his still was. Well, they watched, and when they had a run, had their mash already up, everything ready to run off the next day. That's on the next night sometime. And now they had a lot of mash and the stuff there to make it, and the malt, and they went around. They saw that they knew his steel hadn't been bothered. Well, they got together and they made their plan. They got him up a bunch of kerosene, some good axes, and a pocket full of matches. Way into the midnight, as Charlie used to say, they went over there. They bursted those barrels, the mash, everything he had. They cut that steel all to smithereens, and they piled the wooden barrels that had their mash in on top of that steel, everything. They piled it up there, and they poured, I don't know how much kerosene, but several gallons of kerosene on that, enough to make it burn if most of it was wet. And they set her afire. And when Carnes' men come in to make his run the next day, he didn't have nothing to run. Well, they was cut down again after that before he put back up again. He had to get him a new steel. And they went in one night. They saw him come in home. They went in there and called, asked him to come out. He wouldn't move. They started shooting. And the people that lived around him, one man told me that they shot that man that's so full of holes. His house looked like a sister box.
They shot his house or they shot him?
Shot to the house. No, they couldn't get him out. They wouldn't break the door down. They just shot holes through it. And told him the best thing he could do was to get out of there and never come back.
Did he?
He did.
When was that?
And-
When do you think they shot up his house? What
Well,
year?
I don't know.
Roughly, when you were.
Yeah, well, it was before I left Gilmer County.
Okay, in the
It
war.
was about 13, 14, sometime around there. And somebody went in there that saw her on friendly terms. Well, anybody would talk with him. They was talking about, they found out about it, they asked him questions about it. He said, yeah. He said, I wouldn't have stood for that, but I was sick in bed. And his wife was as mean as old Scratch. She said, like hell you're sick in bed. You're as far under the bed as you'd ever be able to get in your life. He got under the bed.
Well,
Well, he left there, and then in a year or two he went back. His son lived there. He went back up there to spend the night, or was up there and was going to spend the night. By the way, they ganged in on and
where his son was?
shot his son's house. They said,
They were waiting for him, huh?
Lawrence Mulkey.
Lawrence Mulkey.
Lawrence Mulkey, he was a moonshiner. He said they shot the share rounds into George Carnes was sitting in.
Now, who were the main moonshiners by reputation? Lawrence Mulkey, and who was he kin to?
Well, he was
Any kin
Uncle
to?
Wash Mulkey's grandson,
All right.
Lawrence and Les,
Les Mulkey, they were brothers.
Benton Smith,
Benton Smith.
Doc Long,
Loing.
yeah,
Is that the same one that became the mail carrier?
yeah, he carried the mail.
And he moonshined on the side, huh?
And he'd do anything. He was as mean as a striped snake. He served time in the gang for shooting my uncle. Laurel made a mistake when she said that Uncle Wash Mulkey was telling about living in his house. He was killed. Somebody came and called him out one night and shot him. But he wasn't killed. He lived several years after he shot, but the doctor said that the shot was the cause of his death. It never did heal up or something. There was some
Who was that
discoloration of-
that he was shot? What was
Uncle
she?
Wash Mulkey.
How did he get shot?
Well, somebody went to the gate and called him. He's in bed.
Why were they after him?
They thought he'd reported.
Oh.
That's the way they get even with him. They called him and he got up and went out, had on his night clothes, in the warm weather, and just laid his hand up on the wall plate of the porch, of the low roof, and
He couldn't see them?
and I answered, no, it's dark, it's night, but nearly 12 o'clock at night. And he said, who is it or what you want or something. And there's a little bedroom built on the end of the porch. And this man stepped behind that room with a gun, shot him. Bullet went right in just below his ribs.
Didn't kill him then?
It was shotgun, I think. No, he didn't die, but they thought he would at that time. Well, he said, from the flash of that gun, he recognized one man, and that was Doc Long.
Did he ever report him?
Well, yes, they reported him. They went to trial. And Doc Long swore that he did not shoot Wash Mulkey. But he said he knew the man that done it. And he wouldn't tell. They couldn't make him tell. He didn't tell, and he got the sentence. He done time in the gang for,
How old were you when you remember that?
and I don't know, that's where I was born. I
That was
guess.
before you were born.
Yeah. But they was Wilburn Cameron, Doc Long, Cicero Bearden, and
These were the main moonshiners
they were in the crowd
at Wash Mulkey's.
that shot him, that went there to shoot him. One of them, they never did find out who shot him. Till after Wilburn Cameron shot Doc Long's son. And he got mad at Arthur Loin. And he Doc said to my dad when before the boy got him buried, he said, Mr. Mulkey, he said, I think you can understand now why I wouldn't tell who shot your brother. And Dad always thought Wilbur and County, but they
Wilbur and County
didn't have any proof.
was in it?
Yeah, he was in the crowd.
Was he kin to the Countimers we talked about?
Yeah, he's a brother to Larkin County.
So almost in every family there was one or more moonshiners.
Well, Larkin never had anything to do with whiskey. He didn't drink it, didn't do anything until the last few years. And they tell me his people that know him, been around him since I have, say he's as big a drunk as Bentler and Wilbur either one.
Mm-hmm.
But he never would drink when he was a boy and afterward.
Well, let me ask you, you never remember a single, the federal officers never lived, say, in Cardiff K section
No.
or out of LJ. They always
At
lived up in,
Jasper, headquarters was at Jasper.
and they never would bring their families and live out. They'd have gotten killed if they'd have tried. They
Well,
just-
no, they wouldn't. They didn't fall out to the officers. That was their job, and they didn't. They
but
didn't bother
they
the officers.
disliked an informer much worse.
They just dodged them.
Mhm.
Just kept out of the way if they could.
All right, how much shooting? Now that was some shooting that you described there. Were there ever just crimes of passion? I mean, a man would shoot someone he found with his wife, or do you remember any crimes in the period that you lived in Gilmer County?
No, I never knew of anything like that. But they'd get
Did
drunk.
they ever gamble?
They'd get drunk and shoot each other.
Yeah.
Have
Where would they get
drunk.
usually? At someone's house?
Anywhere they'd find enough whiskey, and then they'd go to somebody's house.
Okay.
And they'd
And they might shoot each other?
Get into a fuss, and somebody would get shot.
Now, did the women ever drink?
No.
This was men drinking.
Yeah.
It
Well,
wasn't
they didn't drink like,
like women do today?
well, yeah, they'd take a drink. I have seen people, neighbors come in there to my dad's, they'd always kept a little whiskey most all the time. Well, if he took a notion, he'd get his whiskey and
Would they pass the
Pass.
jug?
pass him as a bottle.
It was a bottle.
Yeah.
How about the jug they talk about?
Well, they'd buy it in a jug and then they'd put it out in the bottle and had it as easier handle.
Now, would they pass the bottle and drink from it?
Yeah. Each one, everyone would drink out of the
Would
same
a woman
Well, if a
take a
woman wanted to
drink?
drink, she'd take it.
Well,
Nobody
would she
thought
in
anything
your
about it.
observation?
Huh?
Did women drink in your observation?
Well, they'd take a drink. Just turn the bottle out, take a dram.
Yeah, like the men, take
Yeah.
a dram. Okay.
Yeah, just pass it around.
Mhm.
I've seen my daddy turn down a lot of times. Somebody come in there and ask, well, then, Mr. Bucket, this is the best whiskey you're going to taste it. I just take a drink of it. Dad said, I believe it will. He'd take it.
Turn it
Turn,
up.
take a swaller, hand it back. Yeah, take another. No, I don't want no more. I don't want no more. And they didn't say it. Well, now you might as well hurry. I don't want no more.
Mhm.
You couldn't force him to drink it, and that's what he'd always get after his boys. The boys, some of them, Charlie was.
You always drank once, you mean, took one drink?
Yeah. And Charlie would, he was bad to drink, and Gus would pitch one every once in a while, and Floyd.
Did Alto drink?
I also never did drink much. I never saw Alto drunk in my life. But I have seen him when I thought he'd had more than he needed. But he just didn't make a habit of getting drunk. And the boys would come in. Dad always knowing to get out. He'd get after and talk to them about it. Well, now, I'll tell you, Dad, I didn't mean to get too much, but I met so-and-so, and he had some of his best whiskey, and it is pure corn whiskey, and it was good. And he gave me a drink, and he just kept on insisting. Dad said, "But now listen, son, are you sure they didn't chain you somewhere, or twist your arm, and make you drink, and you got too much?" And then he'd go ahead and tell them how they could handle themselves and use good judgment about drinking. If they took a drink when they knew that one drink was enough to quit it there. Or even if they wanted to take two, that wouldn't make them drunk.
How about
My daddy lived to be 87 years old.
Mhm.
He never was drunk but one time in his life when he was 15. When he was 15 years old, his brother, Uncle John, come from, he was after the Civil War.
Mhm.
And they was going to singing, Clear Creek.
Mhm.
All day singing. Well, they stopped at old man Martin Team there at
Martin who?
Martin Team that died.
T-E-E-M?
Yeah, and he had a government distillery. He made it for the government.
Is that right?
Yeah, and then
Was that the only legal distillery there?
that was legal.
That was the only
The
one you
only
ever
one
heard
that
of?
I ever heard of there, except my Uncle Ben made one time. And he then you go in, you get for a nickel, you would get a teacup full of whiskey.
From him?
Yeah, he'd sell it.
Hold on.
Hello?
A long distance.
Hello? Heard something like somebody else.
Huh?
That's probably a wrong number.
Okay.
What's wrong now?
Now,
Sometimes it won't hear you.
No.
Yeah.
Martin Team had a legal distillery
Yeah.
down at Dyke,
No,
D-Y-K-E.
Hello?
D-Y-K-E, yeah.
Hello?
Holy. And he actually sold drinks, not just bottles.
Yeah.
Why was
Hello?
he allowed to do that?
He didn't sell, he wasn't allowed to sell, but then there's friends, neighbors come in, want to drink a whiskey.
Give him a drink.
So, teacup full for a nickel.
A teacup full of whiskey for a nickel.
Yeah, well, Uncle John bought a cup full.
Okay, honey.
About a nickel's worth of whiskey.
Yeah, and he had you
Well,
down.
he took it and he drank half.
Mhm.
And give it to, hand it to Dad. He said, finish it.
Yeah.
Dad said, I don't drink that. I said, I can't drink that much.
Yeah.
He was only 15
Yeah.
at the time.
Okay. What do you keep ringing for? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Time to go get them. The money wouldn't go down.
Who
He would-
was?
It's just them, they're ready.
Oh.
He was 15 at the
Well,
time.
he's 15. He said, I can't drink that much. That make me drunk. Uncle John said, well, you're not a baby. Go ahead and drink that, won't hurt nobody. Well, he drank that.
Had
And
gotten
before
good
he
enough.
got to the church, from that place to the church, he couldn't go.
I'll go.
And Uncle John said, Kinsey, you better get up there somewhere and lie down. Sleep this off.
Mhm.
He said, if I couldn't beat that, he said, I wouldn't drink.
He remembered that now.
And so he went out, and Dad had showed me the log that he slept that drunk off behind.
The log was outside of Clear Creek.
Yeah, on the side of the road, way out off the road, but it's great big old chestnut log. It was that high. Well, he got over behind me, lay down and went to sleep.
Mhm.
And about 12 o'clock, dinner time, he come. Uncle John sent some boys down there to see about him. They told him where he was. He knew where he lay down. And when they got there, Dad had waked up and there was a little spring around somewhere near. He'd washed his face and hands and combed his hair and was sitting there on that log when they come up. And he went on to the church. Yeah.
All right. Now, did your mother take a drink when they passed the bottle
Yes,
around?
she wanted.
Now, were there certain
Sometimes
families?
she'd refuse, sometimes
Sure.
other women
Yeah.
would.
Were there certain families where you just almost knew, like Jehovah's Witnesses, they wouldn't take a drink? Like where,
Well,
I'm
not
thinking-
around where, in the section we live.
no, there's no one we've been talking about, Uncle Jimmy West or any of those people would all take a drink when they
Boy,
passed.
yes, Uncle Jimmy West would
Even
take a drink.
preachers or so forth.
Go in from church and take a drink of whiskey.
Mhm.
He said it wouldn't hurt anybody. A drink
Now, did they
wouldn't-
ever, a dram wouldn't hurt anybody.
Uh-huh.
Did they ever have any drinking in connection with all day singing or an all day eating thing?
Seldom. seldom. Once in a while, there'd be a bunch of devilish boys go in and get to drinking, and but they didn't stay long. Some of the older people would get out and just talk to them in a nice, sensible way,
And they'd take off.
and they'd go on about their business or sit down. Sometimes they'd get pretending they was drunk when they wasn't.
How about gambling, Mama? Was there any gambling?
No gambling.
You don't recall gambling?
I don't remember any gambling.
Did anyone play cards when you were growing up?
No, they didn't play cards. They never. I saw one deck of cards in my life until I was getting pretty old.
What do you mean? When did you first see a deck of cards?
Well, one of my cousins, Luther Mulkey, Uncle Ben Mulkey's boy, come there one night, and he was nearly drunk. And he come in, Dad. Well, Dad wouldn't run him off, for it was cold and rainy. But he come in and sat down by the fire. He began to get warm, and he got sick. Well, he started vomiting. He couldn't get up to get outside. He just humped over on the hearth. He just threw it way outside. Well, when he was over there vomiting, the deck of cards fell out of his pocket. And when
In a box or scattered?
They just put it in a box. You could tell what it was. Dad knew what it was. I didn't know what it was. But no sooner than they hit the floor, Dad just picked them up and dumped them in the floor, in the fire.
He didn't approve of cards.
No, he wasn't.
Now, how old were you then?
Oh, I was just 6 or 8 years old, I guess.
But how old were you when you really saw cards played?
Oh, a long time after I was married.
Where did you see it?
I believe the first one I ever saw was Charlie or some of the kids brought some there, and I lived at Kennesaw.
Your own children?
Yeah, I used to play gin rummy with
Oh,
them.
but
There's no harm in it. I used to play
I know that.
domino.
Right, there's no harm in it.
Well,
What I meant
no.
is you never saw it even when you were married up in Gilmer County. You never saw cards played. So that people
They just
didn't gamble.
gamble.
People didn't gamble. They didn't have cards.
No, they didn't have
When did
cards.
you first see an automobile? Truck.
Well, I'm about 19 and 13.
Well, now you
First
would have been
one.
25 years old.
Oh, yeah.
So when you went to town with your daddy to Ellijay when you were 16, you only saw wagons in
Well, I
Ellijay.
don't know.
But when you were about 1913, where did you see it? In Ellijay?
No, the Orsman boys owned the first one I ever
That's
saw.
right.
Yeah,
Lola
yeah.
Mueller said that today.
But Thomas Hudson had one before that, but I didn't see it.
Where was the Osborne? Which Osborne boy?
And they're down at the dike. They lived, you saw one of some Orsmans in the cemetery?
I think so. What Osborne was it? Do you remember? That had become
Jane Southern Orsman.
married Jane Southern.
Aaron Southern's wife. Jane Osborne Southern. You don't remember seeing that. I told you married Dad and Mother.
Married an Osborne or what?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
She was an Osborne and married
Oh,
Aaron
yeah.
Southern.
And it was her brother or her?
And her brother lived down Bly Osborne. Lived down
Bly
between where I live.
What kind of car did he have, do you think? What'd you
Well,
say?
his boys that had the car.
Oh.
It was one of the first ones ever made. Model A or Model T, I guess. Model T. I think it was.
No, it was. Well, go ahead.
Wasn't that one of the first ones? It was.
Well, 1913, I don't know that Model Ts were out yet.
Well, I don't
See,
know.
Model A was around 1930.
Yeah, Model A.
Model T, I don't remember whether it came out before World War I. I can't remember.
Well,
At any rate, was it a
sometime-
black looking?
Yeah, it was a black car.
Open?
No, it had a top on it, and it had just kind of like these old timey top buggies.
Yeah.
Standards on it, you know. And I guess it had cellophane or plastic something for windows.
Yeah.
No glass. I guess my windshield might have been glass, but
Now, where did he drive it? Where did the auto?
well, he just drove it anywhere he wanted
I
to.
mean, where did you see it? He drove it down the road.
We met it. I was going from my dad's Cartier out to where we lived over on.
You were going from Cartier to Burnt Mountain, and he was coming out of Burnt Mountain.
No, he was coming from on Dawsonville Road. He's coming from Ward's Ebenezer on down.
Yeah.
When my dad lived there at
Yeah.
Cartier.
You were in a wagon.
Yeah, I was in a wagon, and we had a team of young mules and killed the boys. I knew them less than Jim Morris, but I used to be with them right smart. We used to have a lot of fun together. They used to come to our house and we'd sing and carry on. They were nice boys. They didn't drink but they did fool with whiskey.
These
They
Osborne
made-
boys made it.
They had it made and sold it.
They
sold
had it made like Alto and had
Yeah.
it and sold it. Now the
Well-
ones you named before actually made whiskey and bootlegged it.
Yeah.
But then there were other people that
in
just sold
Dawson
it.
County, over in the backside of Gilmer, next to the Dawson County line, the Kincaid, Lester Kincaid, Judd Kincaid, Walt Kincaid.
Mhm.
They did nothing else but make whiskey. And Bun Kincaid. And Jim Anderson, the Andersons over there, and the Beardens. And
That Cicero Bearden you mentioned? or-
Cicero and Clark. And old man John Bearden, he never did fool with it much, but his boys did. He had 2 boys. And they fooled with it. Well, they wasn't in it hardly. There was very few people around over on that side that didn't make it. And that's where all the killings come in. I remember.
What killings were over in there that you remember?
Well,
I know those 2 men got killed out of the still. You said
James Lorman. They got those boys. A tree blew down on them
Yeah.
and killed them.
Well, what kind of killings were shootings?
What
were
I
there?
said about war, but that in his book,
Mhm.
in his history book, that wasn't. That made their people feel bad.
Mhm.
They knew the circumstances, and I don't think it was necessary to fix up the history unless he'd have brought it around in a. I don't know how it was written.
Mhm.
That all depends on the sensibility of it, where it was.
Mhm.
But they got killed at the still making whiskey.
Mhm.
Making a run, a tree blew down on them, they squashed.
Those 2, right.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of killings took place?
Well,
That section
shooting.
of Gilmer County.
Shooting, stabbing.
All right. What usually in connection with making whiskey or getting drunk or what? What?
Getting drunk and reporting and getting into a fuss and
A lot of violence. Over
yeah,
this kind of
just
thing.
craziness when people got get enough whiskey that they wouldn't care for what they were doing. Now, there's
Was the
2
section near
cousins
Dawson?
lived there. Bob Reese and Floyd, they were cousins.
Mhm.
Well, Bob Reese had a little grocery store,
Where?
back up on Tickenetly, up above Ebenezer.
Mhm.
Well, they went in there one night and they got in an argument about something. And Floyd Reese just pulled out his gun and shot his cousin. And he died right there in the store. Well, there never was no they had a trial of some kind. I don't know what they had ended up. He never went to prison or anything. And then,
The juries were the same people, and they would hardly convict them sometimes, I
well,
guess.
yeah, they just couldn't see right.
Were there any feuds like you heard of Hatfields and McCoys? Were there any feuds where that man's son or somebody wanted to revenge him?
Well, just little shallow things, not anything, not like the McCoys and the Hatfields and others.
Now this Reese fellow, his cousin, just pulled out a gun in a silly argument, shot the other man dead.
Yeah, he did.
You remember any other incidents? How old were you when that happened?
Well, I was grown. I was married, I guess. Yeah, no, I was. And then Ben Anderson shot my cousin, Monroe Mulkey, Uncle Joe Mulkey's oldest
Yeah.
boy. And Ben was drunk, but Monroe wasn't drunk. He wasn't drinking. He had been at work over on next to where I live. On Friday night, he come over there and spent the night with me. And he always thought a lot of Oliver and me too. Well, he told Oliver one day, he said, I'm coming tonight to spend the night with you and Lillie. And Oliver said, all right, Monroe, come right on.
He was
Be glad to
younger?
have you." Huh?
Was he younger?
Oh, he was older than either one of us. But he come and spent the night on Friday night. And he said he caught up with his work. He's working for somebody on that side, making rails or something. And he got up with his work or something or other. I don't know. He said, I won't have much to do today. I said, I'll get on by 12 or 1 o'clock. And he started off, and I said, no, all of a sudden, well, come back again tonight, Monroe. And no, he said, I've got to go home. He lived on back in the edge of Dawson, beyond several miles from where we lived. He said, I'm going home tonight. He said, I guess my folks are out of groceries. And said, I'm going to go home and get some groceries. He'd been gone a week, you know. He come over there. It's too far to go back and forth to work. Well, he left there that morning, went on over, put in the day's work, and when he got through work, got ready to go home, the man he was working for wandered home, and his folks didn't have the money to pay him, and he told the man's daughter he was working for, he said, well, that's all right. He said, I'm going by Ben Anderson, said he owes me some, I'll go by and get that, and then I get enough stuff to last my family through the week. Well, he went on by Ben Anderson's. Ben Anderson was a drinking, drunk or something. And he just walked up in the yard and told him he'd like to have some money. He needed some money. He had to buy some groceries. He was going in home. And Ben got mad and started cussing. And he said, now that's all right, Ben. He said, I don't want no fuss about it. He said, just let it go. He said, sometime later on, when you feel better, we'll settle it. He told him, no, by God, we'll settle it right now. And Monroe started off, and he was going down the path from the house, and he's always had a habit of walking when he's walking, just out in the road or anywhere, he went with his hands behind him, caught like that, behind his back.
That's the way Monroe.
Yeah, that's the way he walked. And Ben Anderson went in the house and got his gun and stepped out and let him have it. Right in his hand was full of shot. Right in the small of the back it hit him. And he fell, and Anderson had a hard hand there. They got him up on the porch, and somebody said he needs a pillow or something under his head. And Ben's wife just walked around, and there's an old dirty sack that the dogs would lay on. She kicked that up toward him. She said to give him that. Well, he died right there.
He died right there.
That dog bed, and somebody told his dad and mother about it. Uncle John ain't sure lived a little ways. And they heard about it. They met him somewhere and told him, and they just went on over there. And they met this man that was working for Ben Anderson that had started to tell him about it, but somebody else had told him first. And he was like that traveler, was fast, with not having no telephones or automobile. And so they told that Uncle Joe said, what happened? He said, what? Well, they told him just like it was. Now, what happened? Monroe went there, and I think the man heard it and asked Ben for some money. And he got mad and started cussing. And Monroe said, well, Ben, just let it go. Said, forget about it now. Said, we'll settle later. And he said, Ben, I just got in the shower.
Did he ever go to trial?
They got the doctor. Yeah, went for trial, and he come clear, my gosh.
What was the ground?
Now there's a jury for you.
What was the ground? Self-defense?
Self-defense.
What they claimed?
He said that Monroe, he did it to keep, it was him or Monroe. And
What was Monroe's weapon?
Monroe had nothing. He didn't have it.
You had to tell a jury something.
And the man told him, well, you didn't have to tell the jury nothing if there's any money to get them to twist it around. But Ben Anderson spent money on that, of course. And Dr. Goss, they called Dr. Goss. He went there and examined him. And he was shot in the back. And Ben Anderson said he was coming into his house on him. Well, at that time, before the trial came up, Dr. Goss went to South Georgia. He had an adopted daughter that had married and moved to South Georgia. And she was sick. And he went down there to see about her. And while he was gone, they pulled this trial off.
Mhm.
Had this trial, you know. And they even had his clothes there. And all the shop was in the back. He was going from Ben Anderson.
Yeah.
But Ben and his witnesses swore he's come in on him and he had to shoot him.
Yeah.
Well, he come clear. But they spent a lot of money on him.
Mm-hmm.
But Ben Anderson never saw a minute's peace from that day till he died.
How was that?
Well, he just worried himself to death. He knew he'd lied about it, and he knew he willfully murdered that man.
Mm-hmm.
And they said when he got sick, and 2 days before he died, it took every man that could get around that bed to hold him on the bed. He was just jumping and running and yelling and begging them to take one room monkey off him and smothering him to death. You know, that was his conscience.
Yeah.
He was smothering him to death.
When did you hear that? When did he die?
Well, he died sometime several years after, about 4 or 5, I guess. After that, he died.
He was
Well,
an
the
older
news
man.
spread everywhere. Everybody talked it. It was kind of a bad way for a man to die, and people knew about it, and they wondered about.
Were they both in Ebenezer? Was Anderson in the church too?
Was he what?
Was he a member of Ebenezer too?
I don't know. I think he joined the church after he killed us, Monroe. I think he did, but he was a miserable man.
How did Uncle Joe take it?
Well,
He wasn't vengeful or anything.
It just hit him hard. No, he wasn't. He just couldn't understand it, and he couldn't understand why the jury, and they just run things over, and they wouldn't wait for Dr. Goss to get back. Everybody thought, it was a general opinion, if Dr. Goss had been there as a witness, that they wouldn't have cleared him. And then, just like Wilmer County shot Arthur Lawrence, Arthur went there. He got mad at it, but he went to Arthur's. Went over to Doc Lawrence.
Who went to whose house?
Wilmer County went over to Doc's.
Mm-hmm.
He was drinking, and he was talking to the Doc. And Arthur come around where he was at, and he said, "Right there's the best friend I've got."
Who said that?
Wilbur said that about Arthur.
Yeah.
He said, "I'd die for that boy in a minute." And they talked for a while, and he had a hog over there. He wanted to sell Arthur or trade to him somehow or another. He wanted him to come over and look at the hog. And he said, "I can't go now, Wilbur." And he said, I'll come over after a while if I get time. Well, he said, "You be sure and come now." Well, he went long about, I guess the sun was about a half an hour before sunset when he went, maybe a little earlier than that. But anyway, he went, and Wilbur and one of his brother-in-laws was out at the barn out from the hog pen, and all of us walked up, and Wilbur had a bottle of whiskey. He had to take a drink. Well, Arthur would drink, but he wouldn't get drunk. I never saw him drunk, and I knew him all my life. I went to school with him from the first day I started until as long as I went to school.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a nice boy, but he would drink some, but he wouldn't get drunk. And wouldn't act a fool when he got drunk. He's all fun when he gets to drinking. He just, everything.
No meanness in him,
No, he wasn't mean. Well, he said, "Take a drink, Arthur." I said, "No, I don't want any, Wilbur." "Oh, hell, take a drink." And he said, "No, I don't want it." Well, he just walked up and put his hand on his shoulder and jabbed that bottle to his mouth, cut his lip. Well, Arthur had a temper like a mule kicking, red-headed as a peckerwood. Oh, when he did that, he just hauled off and knocked him down. And Charlie Forster, Wilbur's brother-in-law, was standing there. And Officer started to hit him again. Charles said, no, I wouldn't do it tomorrow. He said, you know, he's drunk, said he don't know what he's doing. He said, let him alone, they'll all blow over after a while. Well, Wilburn got up and apologized. He said, Officer, you ought to stomp me into the ground. Officer said, no, I didn't want to do that. He said, you just made me mad since you cut my lip with that bottle. He said, I didn't want the whiskey. Well, he said, you just ought to stomp me into the ground. No, he said, I didn't want to do that. Well, he said, come on, let's go to the house. He said, you're the best friend I've got in the world. He said, there's nothing that I wouldn't do for you. Well, we went on to the house. Well, we went up the steps on the front porch. It was
Whose house were they at?
right where Wilburn lived.
Mm-hmm.
And Arthur said, I haven't got time. He said, I've got to get back. He said, I told Dad I'd be back in a little while. He said, Effie's not feeling well, and his sister lived there with him. And he said, I haven't got time. He said, oh, come on out to the house. And Arthur just walked on talking. He kept talking, went on out there. Wilburn went up the steps and come on in. And Arthur walked up the steps. That was, the porch was as high as my head, standing on the ground and couldn't see on the floor.
Yeah.
Well, he walked up the steps, and Wilburn started on in the house, and he thought he was going to get a chair. He said, don't bother to get a chair. He said, I just got a minute to stay. And he just squatted and propped against the wall. And just as he got settled, Wilburn's little boy come out and said, look out, Arthur. And Arthur looked around, and he had that darn old 12-gauge shotgun right in the boy's face. And he pulled the trigger.
Shot off.
It went right into the side of his nose. Oliver went, helped to dress him and put him in his casket. After he shot, I don't know, I think Gus shaved him. He said it looked like that hole went clear through that boy's head.
The whole of the 12 gauge went right through
Yeah,
between
it
his
was
eye and his
through.
nose.
It was
And
right at him. And when he saw the gun, when he looked around and saw it, he said, Lord have mercy, and started to get up. And when the shot hit him, he went on his face right out in the yard. And the yard was laid with this great big old flat rock.
now, what was Arthur? Was he Doc's son, or what was
His
it?
Doc's son.
And Gus, you say, shaved him,
Yeah, Gus shaved him.
and Oliver helped prepare him for
Yeah,
burial?
he helped to get him ready. Well, there's no undertakers in you.
No. What other things like that? Did Oliver do much of that?
Not too much. He didn't like that kind
Who
of
else
work.
did he lay away?
Well, I don't remember.
Remember anyone
That
else?
Mr. Johnson, I believe, that died right there below us. I believe
Which
he
Johnson
helped
was it?
dress him. But then Wilburn County, when he shot this boy, and he fell out in the yard, he got his gun on his shoulder and took off. Just that. Went over to his dad-in-law and told him what he'd done. Well, he met some neighbor women. They heard the screaming and heard the gunshot and heard the screaming. Well, he'd shot at his wife that day. And,
He had.
Yeah. And they thought
He'd been drunk all day?
his sister-in-law, one of his wife's brother's wives, lived right there close, and her and one of the neighbors started up there, and he met her. He stopped, took time off, and cussed them. And he said that he thought it was his wife, told her she was the cause of everything of it, and scared them to death. He'd get her next. He went on over to his dad-in-law and told him what he'd done.
Did he go to trial?
Fooled around there and come back home. His folks left just as soon as they could get gone. And he come back after dark, walked right through that blood, but there's a puddle of blood there for the boy, and he fell out in the yard and all. He just walked right through there, went in the house, and got him some pills, slept in the barn loft that night. And got up the next morning and went to his sister's, lived about a half mile below it, still a drinking, and he had his gun. He just walked in with it and gave her orders to fix his breakfast and be in a hurry about it. Well, she was scared to death. She didn't know where he was. They thought he'd done scared bad.
Yeah, left the country.
But he'd come back home, and she thought he was clear out of reach. Never thought about getting around that till he walked in. And like scared her to death. Her husband was gone, and her with a bunch of little children. She had one baby about 2 years old, and then the little one, a lot bigger. And she got a chance. She said, well, Wilmer, I'll fix you some breakfast just as quick as I can. And I said, you'll have to wait till I get the stove hot. And she got a chance, told one of the children to do something, and she followed it. And as quick as she could, she told her what to do. She said, you get every one of the children and take off over to Dad's. Her dad lived about a mile from her. And said, I'll be on. And they didn't want to leave her, but she forced them to go. And when he was still waiting for his breakfast, she got everything ready, had his biscuits in the oven, and her meat fried. And she said, now, Wilmer, I'll have to go to the spring and get some butter for breakfast. And he said, the biscuits will be done by the time I get back. And when she got out of that house, she didn't head to the spring. She headed after them children. She got away from them and left. Well, they got out, they deputized, they got the sheriff and the deputy, and they deputized everybody around that would serve, and hunting him. They knew he was in that section somewhere. Well, he was an old crazy man. He had a good education, but he didn't have no common sense. He was going on through the woods, and he saw him. Well, this man come up with his gun up through the woods, come to the fence, he set his gun over his right, and he hollered, here he is, boys, and then when he crossed the fence, he grabbed him. He knocked him down, and he got up and grabbed him again. And by George, he held him until they come after him. So they arrested him.
Let me ask you, because you mentioned the law now,
Mhm.
when these things would happen, do you remember any of the sheriff's names of that period? Would people
Oh,
speak of the
yes.
law as coming in?
Sheriff Pinson, Jack Pinson was the sheriff at that time.
And then who before him? Do you remember any? of the
No,
sheriffs?
I don't remember this. I guess I could think of him
How about a
sometime,
deputy?
no.
Would there be a deputy
Oh,
for
yeah,
the Carty K
I did
area?
have a deputy in Ellijay. It's all from Ellijay. There's no sheriff, no
None
deputy.
out in the county. No deputies out in the county.
Didn't have any.
Was there? Do you think there was much law really out in that section?
Well, no, there wasn't too much. They'd catch up a man and try him. When in this trial, when they went to trial,
Well, would everybody get in their wagons and go to a trial when a man got arrested from that section?
no,
So how would you?
just a few people that was interested, and everybody knew how it went when they. But that jury
When
found
Kennemer,
him guilty of manslaughter
yeah, what they give him?
and give him a 15-year sentence
Yeah.
for willful murder. Dad said he never.
Did he serve his time?
Dad said he never saw. No, he got a pardon, paroled in 3 years,
Mhm.
and come back and shot the sheriff in Jasper. Didn't kill him, and then they put him in for the rest of his time, and he died in there before he served his 15 years out.
Now, what? Do you ever remember anyone being stabbed? You mentioned stabbing.
Oh
Amy.
yeah.
Who was stabbed?
James Lorman,
Lawman.
Loma,
Mhm.
Loma. He was
Who stabbed him?
I've heard different people. I remember seeing him, but I was just a kid. I just remember them knowing, hearing somebody say it was James Lorman. He, but everybody said he was one of the finest looking men that ever been in the county. And he was a nice person, but he would, as everybody else nearly around there, would drink. He'd take a drink and get a little too much sometimes. But there's some men, Charlie Holt, son of that old house I showed you there before we got to the double oak deer stand.
Mhm.
And that was his son, Charlie Holt, and a fellow Reese, Jim Reese, and somebody else. There's 3 of them that overpowered him and stabbed him to death.
Now, why? What were they?
They
Did
just got mad at him about something, or maybe a drinking.
Did they ever have boundary fights, arguments over property lines?
Oh no, not much of that.
Why? Would they go to court with that?
Well, no, everybody was reasonable about that. When the line was run between me and you,
Mhm.
post stakes was put up, marked, trees marked, and everybody knew what that line was. They never bothered about it.
So you think it was mostly connected with either suspecting an informer or drinking. It
Yeah,
caused the
yeah,
violence.
yeah, that was the worst of it.
Who
I
else
never heard of anybody having any trouble with men
over their wife
the
or
wives
over
and-
the kind of things
no.
you hear about, or fighting over
No.
property or
So there's a lot of that going on now, I think, in
Yeah.
places.
well, that's what a lot of the temper, you know, a lot of the violence,
Mhm.
crime. How about stealing? How much robbery was there?
Well, there wasn't any robbery.
No, never any.
Not
Well, you,
any.
you mentioned occasionally an armed robbery. You said that Negro man was held up, and
100% now.
you told me in LJ years later or something.